Hi everyone, Gail here with life coaching, spiritual, intuitive and psychic. We have today a lovely guest with us who has something magical to share with us, something that's an essential really for our lives and our children and even ourselves as far as our dynamic with our families and our groups and situations that we share together. How are you, Meg? How are you today?
I'm good, and I'm really happy to be here with you, Gail, and I'm happy to be able to share my book.
Excellent. And Meg is a local writer, author, publisher.
Yes, thank you.
And you have written some incredible stories and books that actually very closely relate to real life problems, situations, and we just thought we would love to hear about it from you.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce my book. I called it Families, but actually it's about group dynamics. A group is a family if you consider that it's a group of people that have to be together over a course of time. They can be a family, they can be a blended family, they can be a club, they can be a classroom, they can be a local suburb. They are loosely made into families. I called it Families because I thought it covered everything that was essential.
Absolutely, because in life we find groups of people that we actually associate as families because some of us haven't had families
This is
like
true.
that.
This is true.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And just tell us a little bit about, the subject, the way that you've written this. And I know that you've written it in the lives of cats, but can you tell me something more personal about why and how that came about?
As one of my jobs, I've worked with troubled children, I've worked with lots of family groups, children's groups, and I acquired recently 2 new kittens. They had to be integrated with an older cat. When I put them with the older cat and I watched the dynamics that went between them, I thought, it's very much to what people do. And so I went from there.
Right.
So this book really is about group dynamics. We start the book by simply saying about the 2 new kittens, Mia
Yes.
and Pushkin. And they are the 2 that come into a home where there's already an adult cat. She's settled in the home, she's been in the home a long time. They haven't, they've come directly from a cattery and they're beginning cats. So, they then have to, each has a story. What I'm starting with the beginning is to say that we're all a product of what it is that we believe, our experiences mould that, how we grow up moulds that, and that's how we become as a person. Yes. And each of us is different because each of us has a different experience. However, we've got to get on together somehow.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is the problem that Molly and the kittens have. This is a problem also that people have.
Yes, very much so.
So why did I choose to do it about cats? It's because cats provide a talking point. Sometimes it's really embarrassing to talk about your problems directly, but it's better if you can advise a cat.
Right, absolutely.
And that's what this book lets you do.
Yeah.
So each cat represents an aspect of what we're talking about.
So if a child, for instance, was having a problem at school, like bullying maybe, or just feeling really left out and not included, a parent could read this book to them, these chapters, and then maybe help the child open up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Maybe even just make them feel safe to say something about, or question them through the story of the book.
The book is actually
flow going.
an invitation to a conversation.
Yes.
It's an invitation to a reader, and it's best done if it has an adult reader and a child.
Right.
The cat is the intermediary. The reader has the experience, the child has the problem, but sometimes very hard to open up to your problems.
Yes, yes.
So that's why you advise a cat. There is no right or wrong to any of the questions that this book puts to you. The first part of the book simply tells you the background of the cats.
Right.
For instance, Molly has been a solitary cat. Molly is an adult cat. Molly has her own ways. It's been her house, her way, and she's learned that's the best way for her. But her quandary is she's lonely. So the kittens come in. She wants the kittens, but she wants them her way. The kittens also have a background. Their background is the cattery. In the cattery, they were very comfortable with the cats. The human people were a bit of a problem because they didn't have a lot of socialisation. So they're good together and they work as a team. Mia, the little girl cat, she's the boss. Pushkin is the boy. Mia is a fear-driven cat. So everything she does is done to make her safe.
Right.
Pushkin is not a happy cat, but he's a more, let's go with the flow cat.
Right.
So the first two chapters just introduce these and their types. Then this one goes to the cats in the cattery. And okay, the picture looks a bit disturbing, but it was disturbing for them because they were happy in the cattery, they were well kept, they were well fed.
Right.
They loved the cat society, but the person that bred the cats rushed in, rushed out, and every now and again she would pick up kittens and she would take them out of the thing to somewhere very, very strange. And that was, of course, to where somebody might want to take them as a pet. And so for Mia, who was a spiky little girl, she used to run, hide and be very troublesome to pick up. But to her, humans were grabbing hands.
Yes, yes.
And you run from grabbing hands, and she had one tactic, because she was only young, she hadn't learned others. Her tactic was run, hide.
Right, right.
And she kept Pushkin safe with her. She and Pushkin were born, the breeder tells me, 3 minutes apart. They slept together in the cattery together. They were like twins. So Pushkin is her safety valve.
Yes, yeah.
And she's going to keep herself safe and she's going to keep Pushkin safe. Who's going to get them? When they're taken out of the cattery, they don't always go together. Sometimes Pushkin goes out and Mia's left behind.
Right.
So is Pushkin going to come back again? Because they have learned that cats get picked up, kittens get picked up, taken out. They don't always return.
Mm.
So these are big worries for her.
Yes.
She's lucky because they both go together. And they go to a home where they're put into a room by themselves and allowed to settle down. But she's making the plans. How we keep safe, where we hide. He wants to explore, she wants to hide.
Is this the place where they meet Molly?
Yes, This is the place, their forever home. Luckily for them, they go together.
Excellent.
So they go to their forever home, they have a special room to themselves, they love the room. Mia loves the room, she does not want the human person.
Right.
But she likes the room. So that's as far as we get with the kittens there.
Yeah. The illustrations are beautiful. Did you do those?
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I did.
Awesome.
This is where they meet Molly. Now, Molly likes them if they do what she says. So Molly has a do list and Molly has a don't list. The do list: do everything that I say, do it my way, do use your very best polite manners, do understand that I was here first, do know that you will be in great trouble if you upset me. So she's in there and she's staking her claim and they have to work by her rules. rules because she's the oldest cat.
I was
That's
here
the way
first.
she sees it.
Yeah.
This is my home, this is me, and this is the way that you've got to do it. Just don't list as well. Don't touch my treasures, don't eat my food. Don't sit on my favourite chair, don't play with my toys. Don't get in my personal space, and don't play noisy children's games around me. So you can upset Molly by doing the do list, and you can upset Molly by doing the don't list. But she wants to be the boss.
Yes.
Now, this is very true of a lot of places where children come in new.
Yes.
New into a classroom, new into a sports club, new into a blended family.
Yes. Yes.
Because the one that's there has it all worked out.
Yes. It's
The
the
ones that come
territory
in,
space.
absolutely. The ones that come in, they've got to fit in somehow. And this is going back to the dynamic of we're all made by our experiences, by the way we see the world, and so we operate from that way, but somehow we've all got to fit in. We've got to make it work.
Yeah.
She's possessive. Mia is fear-driven. Pushkin just really would like an easy life,
Yep.
and that's the three of them.
So he'll roll with it. He'll
He
do
rolls
what
with the punches,
what's
yes.
needed. Yep.
Mia works out very quickly, get on Molly's good side, because she looks for where the power is, because the power will keep you safe.
So how does that progress with your book? How
Well,
does that?
What happens next is we have Molly's story. Molly sees these kittens playing. She wants them there. She wants her own rules. But she sees the two of them together. And they have something she doesn't have. They have each other. And she thinks, well, I want these cats, but they've got something I want and haven't got. And she goes through her life and she talks about the things in her life that have happened that she's lost. Because Molly's lost a few things.
As in, yeah.
Yes. Molly had a beautiful, beautiful friend when she first came in as a kitten. That friend brought her up and she loved him forever. That friend died in a car accident. Molly had no say over that, it happened. Then Molly found a beautiful friend in a neighbour's cat. And they were friends and it filled the gap. But the neighbour moved and she moved, and so she lost again. So she's trying to replace, but she's making it hard for herself to replace because she wants them to replace on her rules. And she's not prepared to bend at this stage.
Right.
So then we go into the kittens and look at what's happening for them. With the little girl, she hated the human being. She hated all human beings. She tried very, very hard to keep Pushkin from being friendly to the human being.
And that can relate, couldn't it, to the, you know, if they came into, if a child comes into a house with, say, a new mum.
Yep.
That may not be easy,
Yep.
and they may not want it, and so
No.
they may not want to like this person.
And will that mum be fair?
And will that mum be fair?
Will that mum treat us all equally?
Yeah.
Will the first one be favoured? But Molly, after a while, realises that Pushkin's getting a lot of stuff she would like, and she works out, the human being actually isn't bad. Now she becomes very frightened, because she's a fear-driven little girl. And that is, okay, well, I've been so naughty in the past, and I haven't done what everybody else has done. Will this human like me, or have I sort of blown my chances?
Yeah.
So she wants to be the number one cat, because that's proof that she's loved. So now she sets out to do all the very things she can to please this human. But first she's got to make a little list, which she does. She makes a list of all the things that will prove that she's first. Who's the first person spoken to? Who gets the first present? Who gets to go first? Who gets the first try of something?
Sometimes it's the first seat, the front seat of the car, isn't it?
It can be that. It can be the biggest lolly. The first choice. She makes a list that's so long, she can't keep up with it.
Right.
It gets confusing for her. But she wants to be, and it's still part of her fear-driven personality. Pushkin's got along and into the family better. He and Molly don't get on because Molly finds him rude and cumbersome and what have you. Mia and Molly get along on Molly's terms, but that's on Molly's terms. Mia thinks, well, I first in with Molly, but maybe Molly's not influential on the human person. Pushkin's done all the right things, I've done all the wrong things. But Pushkin is just going with the flow. He rolls with the punches and he goes with the flow because he does what's easiest.
So how does that work out for Mia, the list? As in
the list.
Does she get success?
No, she gets confused.
Right.
Because the list gets too long. But they start to grow and Pushkin stops being the boy that does what he's told. He has to do what he's told by Molly. Mia's always been the boss. He's growing up and he's starting to assert himself. He wants to. So, somebody comes into his house and he calls him Uncle Goodtimes.
Right.
And Uncle Goodtimes is a man or a person or a woman or whoever that comes into a family, makes one part of the family very special, then something happens and that person leaves. And there's questions as to why with the child.
These can be adult friendships where they don't last.
Yes.
They go out for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
They come hot, they go cold. Uncle Goodtimes comes in and he plays. He gets on the floor, he's a young man, he gets on the floor, he plays with Pushkin, and Pushkin loves games. And Pushkin thinks he's wonderful and he tells Molly, he's my friend. He comes only for me. He loves me. He's the best thing that's come into my life because now Pushkin's actually got something that belongs to him. Molly's got all the say. Mia's got all the clues. Pushkin now has something that's his own, and that's the man that comes into his life. But, sadly for Pushkin, it doesn't last. Because the man finds some other thing to look at and something else to do, and he gets less and less intent on Pushkin and more intent on the other things. And then suddenly he disappears, and he's gone.
For a child, that would be like really confusing. What have I done wrong?
That's exactly what Pushkin is so down, and he goes to Molly and he says to Molly, what did I do? Was I naughty? What happened? Now Molly, who's not all nasty, tells him, Pushkin, there are lots of people in this house. They come, they go. The human person is the person who always stays. What happens here has nothing to do with anything you did. It's all about what the humans decided. And this can apply to children.
Yes, totally.
Where someone comes into their house, somebody gives them a lot of attention, then that person goes for whatever reason. The child often questions why they drove them away.
And that even happens when it's their biological parent.
Yes. What did I do wrong? Mum and Dad have split.
Yes.
How did I chase one of them out? What have I done? Have I been so horrible that they just don't want to be with me anymore?
So that could really open up good discussion.
Absolutely. All of these chapters are simply an invitation to talk
engage,
about.
Communicate.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer. You can start by consulting and talking about the cats. You don't have to talk about your inner self if you don't want to, but you certainly can think about it, and the reader can put in their input by saying, now I wonder what would have happened if Pushkin had done this. How do you think it might have turned out?
Yes.
And the kids said, and they can say, well, what do you think Pushkin could have done? And the child might give an answer, and they can say, well, how do you think that would work out?
Yeah.
Because what you've got to look at is actions,
Yes.
consequences.
Yes.
Is there a better alternative?
And problem solving.
And problem solving.
Which life problem solving we're not taught how to do.
No, we're not. We learn by experience. We learn by looking at what we do and analysing it, but without help. Sometimes our analysis is not what it should be.
So this opens the avenue to be able to find out more about your child.
Yes.
More about what is going on, but also giving them the opportunity to let you know how they would deal with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so we go to one where Mia has to have her butterflies in and spoil the curtains. She doesn't actually. She knows she shouldn't do it, but she does it. Pushkin tries to catch a bird because he's getting older. It doesn't work. Then at the back, they all have a reflection on what they've learned from being with each other.
Pearls of wisdom, I love it.
Pearls of wisdom, yes. Molly would like to say, you can learn to like and to share with the new members of your family, but you can still be yourself. Small changes don't have to kill you. If you're prepared to give change enough time, you may discover hidden treasures within the new things and the new people that you couldn't see straight away. So she's learning to bend.
And these books, these books can be bought, can be purchased.
Yes.
And how would somebody be able to purchase these books? We have another one that we will actually talk about in November.
Yes.
Which is the original Naughty Miss Molly. Molly story. How would people contact you to purchase?
Right. Because I'm a published author that I published by myself, you need to contact me directly. I have an email address. The email address is fairly easy. It's Meg and Molly together @gmail.com, and I'll spell it out. It's all lowercase. There are no capitals. It's all one thing. MEGANDMOLLY 2 GETHER @gmail.com.
Cool.
So Meg
Excellent.
and Molly together @gmail.com. You can contact me directly.
Do you have a phone number, Meg, that they can contact you on?
Yes, 06 835 1347. That would be my home phone number.
Right.
Sometimes you'd need to leave a message.
Good as gold.
But the books you can purchase, they are $25, including packaging and posting.
Brilliant. Excellent.
Because my aim is not to make money out of these books, but my aim is to get them out into the community.
And the message.
Yes, the message is important.
And they're like a workbook. They have a value.
Yes.
And thank you so much for coming and sharing that with us.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Grandparents love these books because they have the experience, the age. They don't have to directly parent. They have a great spot in the family.
And they have experience to back them up.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Meg.
Thank you for talking to me today.
Very welcome. So lovely.